And I think because of ignorance, some of our outside neighbors said, that should tell you you don't belong here.
They tried to grab a foreign student who they thought was Muslim and beat them up as kind of revenge for 9/11.
When somebody they do something bad, they say this is Muslim.
They came here, the Ku Klux Klan burned a cross in the yard that year. We ended up in a gunfight, so to speak. Some kids were coming and throwing smoke bombs. We didn't know what it was, and they were shooting guns.
The Bible Belt is a vaguely defined region of the United States where Christianity seems to be paramount among other religions, in which there seems to be less religious diversity than in other parts of the country, and a more homogeneous religious orientation towards Christianity. I think it's inevitable with the advance of time that more and more people in the Bible Belt will also meet people from other religions. And most of the time when this happens, stereotypes get shattered, because you think that a Hindu must be a certain kind of person, and then you meet one and find out that they're actually a very sweet, nice person just like you. So often just simply meeting someone from another religion is really great for breaking the ice and changing people's minds.
I didn't understand the extent of discrimination until I became a Hare Krishna. Then I could relate to it. I could really relate to it. I didn't really understand it as deeply until I actually became a person who had to suffer from it. Then you can really understand it. Many followers of the ancient Vedic literature, the religious literature of India, consider that the word Hindu came from the Muslims. When they crossed the Sindhu River, they would pronounce it to be the Hindus, and the people on the other side of the Indus River to be Hindus, and that land to be Hindustan. So that word was coined by them, and many times used in a derogatory way, because they considered the Hindus heathens and infidels. And so they used it much like people in this country used the N-word at one time. The British kept the word, and Hindus themselves have adopted the word. But many traditionalists do not consider themselves Hindus. Me growing up an American and knowing the way people often thought about Hindus, I never appreciated that people would consider me a Hindu, but I was a follower of Lord Krishna's Gita. Traditionalists consider that they're practicing eternal dharma, or the eternal occupation of man, which is called Sanatana Dharma. And they would consider themselves perhaps Vedantists, they're followers of the Vedic literature, they're Vedantists, or they're Sanatana Dharmas, they practice Sanatana Dharma. I find that people are more open to people who are Indians and who are maybe Hindu by birth, because people expect that that's their natural upbringing. And so they, I don't think they look at them as prejudice of a way. Nowadays people are living together, and we have to learn to live together. And so it's very important for the world that America teach this by example. Then there's hopes that actually the world will be able to live together, because we are a global culture. And if we can't learn to live together, we're going to tear the world down just because of our religious differences or our racial differences.
Some people are educated about faiths other than their own, and they tend to do less stereotyping. Certainly it does happen that people become stereotyped. If you're a Muslim, you must be a terrorist. If you're a Buddhist, you must worship demons or something like that. Unfortunately, this does happen, and it just arises because of a lack of education about other faiths. The percentage of Muslims who are terrorists is actually very small, so it's a terrible stereotype.
My name is Ali Asfour. I'm 50 years old. I'm living in Hattiesburg now. My nationality is Palestinian. I came to United States at 2004. I'm working in a ladder restaurant in 3407 Hardy Street as a manager. I'm Muslim. I'm practice my religion, but not extremely Muslim. So we believe in the other religions. We respect other religions. As a Muslim, the truly Muslim had to believe in Jesus, in Mary, in Christian religion, Jewish, you know. And I respect them. The Islam religion asks us not to steal, not to kill, not to drink even alcohol, or to use drugs, or to lie. All these things, bad things, or to kill, murder. This, as Muslim, you're not allowed to do these things. So as long as you practice, you follow the rules of the God, you will be in the safe side. What's the benefit or the purpose for me as a Muslim to go to kill people with no reason? I'm looking to live in peace.
I know a number of Muslims here in southern Mississippi. The new Medina community west of town, where there are some Americans who practice a traditional form of Islam in a very beautiful and rich way.
I didn't know that Muslims lived in this area. I don't even know what a Muslim is. I think a Muslim is synonymous to terrorist. We believe in God. We believe in prayer. We believe in fasting. We believe in life after death. We believe in reward and punishment. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing being a Muslim in a heavily Christian Bible Belt. And some people say, what? You don't mind being different? Well, no, it's that we have a lot of things in common. Almighty God says in the Holy Book, in the Quran, that He could have made us all the same. But He did not, so that we can learn from each other. Because if we were all the same, where's the challenge? Again, to answer that question, yes, it's been a blessing.
Well, I think people need to know what other religions teach. For example, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, pretty much exists in every religion. There are some religions which stress it kind of in the opposite, don't do unto others as you don't want them to do unto you, but it still works out the same way. And I think if people understand that all religions, in their basic teachings, are trying to teach us to be kind, loving, and moral people, that this will produce greater tolerance and greater openness.
My second love in life was religion and Judaism, and along with music, I also engaged myself in study of religion and Judaism. And in 2004, I decided to move into the ministry. I enrolled at the Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati, and then I am now a rabbi in Hattiesburg with Temple B'nai Israel. So here, of course, Judaism is a minority religion, and for that reason, I think it's harder to be Jewish in the United States, or what we call the diaspora. In other words, any country that is outside of the land of Israel, because you need to find a place where you can worship and also congregate with people of your religion and nationality. The place of worship in Judaism right now is called a synagogue. It's like a church, of course. It's a place of assembly. We worship there, we also congregate there, and we also study there. And the major object of religious object in the synagogue is the Torah scroll. It is written on parchment by a professional scribe in the Hebrew, and each week we read from it, from the book of Genesis to the book of Deuteronomy throughout the year. So Judaism has had tremendous influence on the thinking, not only theological, but also on the moral thinking. And in fact, the forefathers of the founders of this country, of the United States, saw as their role model, as a leader, their role model was Moses.
All religions want us to love each other. All religions want us to care for each other. All religions want us to be good citizens. Sometimes there are extreme interpretations of what it means to be a good citizen, like Osama bin Laden's, but no mainline form of religion supports things like killing and terrorism and so on. At their heart, what religions want is to create nice, helpful, community-minded people.
Buddhism in general is kind of just a very practical religion, if you even want to call it a religion so much. It's just a way of looking at life. So. In Tibetan Buddhism, it means they have this idea that if you just say something, it represents compassion. It doesn't translate into a certain word. It just, the closest translation we can get into English is an image of a lotus flower coming out of mud, is literally kind of what it translates into, but it doesn't really translate into anything. It's just kind of some primal noises that they make. But the idea being every person's kind of a satellite of whatever thing they're saying. So if you're saying the compassion mantra, even though you might not feel it just by saying those words, you're, you know, radiating compassion towards other people, and the idea is to spread that to other people.
Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme Om.
OMMANIPEMEHOONG. Om Mani Padme Hum. 6 syllables. And by saying it those 3 times, I've radiated compassion to all of you. So.
Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme Om.
I grew up in DC in a very Vietnamese neighborhood. Both of my parents, they're Buddhist, and I was raised a Buddhist because of that. When we would go do Buddhist ceremonies or Asian holidays, I guess it seemed like a chore to me. I never really got into it or really believed it. Long story short, atheism is when you don't believe in God at all. When you're an agnostic, you are on the fence. You feel like there isn't, but there might be. But in atheism, you definitely don't believe in a God. I'm not an atheist because I feel it's easier to live this way. It just feels better to me and makes more sense to me to live this way. I guess I could go back to being a Buddhist like the rest of my family, but to go through all those Buddhist ceremonies and traditions and customs, I have no feeling for it. I don't want to do it. I don't believe in it. I feel like they're just all empty gestures when I do them. When I get on the floor and pray with my parents on certain holidays, I just don't feel anything. When I got to college, I met a whole lot of other people like me, who had similar beliefs, similar interests, and I was a little more willing to talk about my atheism. Mainly because the stereotypes of the South, I'm scared to talk about it. I don't want anyone to view me negatively because of it. So that's the number one reason why I don't talk about it, is because it just doesn't come up, and if it doesn't need to, that's fine. Am I scared of any negative reactions? Yes.
If we want to create a loving and kind and cooperative society, we need to have positive relationships with people who are contributing towards that vision, no matter what their religion is. We need to be able to discern different types of people from different types of religions.